What's up, YouTube? Tonight's video is the next entry in my console collection series. This is a video I really wasn't planning on making because I'm afraid it's going to end up being a very long video. However, this was due to popular demand. I had several people ask me to make this video, so I felt like I would do it in honor of my fans. Hopefully you guys appreciate this and are willing to stick through this to the end because, as I said, it probably will be quite a long video. So this video will feature my US Sony PlayStation 1 collection, and I do have quite a few games for this system. So please bear with me as we go through this collection. I am going to do some jump cuts as we go through this video, just so I don't have to take all the games off the shelf at the exact same time. So typically I start off these videos by going over the console itself and some of the features of my individual console, how I got it, my history with it. However, if you watch my import PS1 library collection video, which I posted about a week ago, you can get all that information about the PlayStation console, because really it's the same system. So I'll post a link to that if you'd like to take a look at that video. But for a backdrop today, I do have a piece of original PlayStation promotional material. This is a nice cloth material flag that I got from a Sony rep when I worked in a game store back in the late 90s, and it was to promote the original PlayStation. So I thought it would be an appropriate piece to use as a backdrop for this video. So with that said, since there are so many games to cover, I figure we should probably go ahead and get on with it. So I will try to keep it brief in my description of these. A few of these I do really love. Some of my favorite games of all time are on the original PlayStation, so I may start to talk a few minutes about some of these, but I will try to keep it brief in honor of the amount of games to cover, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first one of these is Adventures of Lomax. This is a fantastic 2D platformer that has great graphics and was a very early entry in the PS1 library. So very impressive that they were able to get this quality of graphics. This was a European developed game, and it is loosely tied to the Lemmings series games, although it plays nothing like them. This is a traditional 2D platformer. It's very rare, and it's well worth tracking down. The next one of these is All-Star Slammin' D-Ball, or Dodgeball. I was hoping this would be like a modern Super Dodgeball. Instead, it's actually a really horrible game. Graphically, it looks great. It's got the nice 2D style graphics, but overall the gameplay is not so hot on this one. This was part of Agetech's A1 Games series, and these were budget titles. These only went for $10 when they were new. Some of these are kind of hard to get. They were distributed by Tomo, and anytime you see Tomo distributorship, it's usually a pretty rare game. So this one, however, is not so hot. I don't recommend it. The next one is one I recently picked up. This is Alundra by Working Designs. And, kind of an average Zelda clone. I never really got too into this game, so nice to have it as part of my Working Design set, but nothing too exciting. Next is Aquanauts Holiday. This is another pretty obscure game, and it's by this developer Art Dink, who made quite a few weird games. This is almost like not a game at all. It's just so chilled out. It's very relaxing. It's a nice underwater simulator type thing, and kind of interesting if you ever have a chance to sit down and play it. Don't expect a lot of action, though. Next is one of the Working Designs box sets, and this is a really thick one. This is for Ark the Lad collection, and it has, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 discs inside here. Oh, it's 5 discs, actually. Has a lot of freebies. I don't know if I can show you some of the stuff that's in here. It's got a bunch of trinkets, music CD, big fat art book, a lot of stuff that you see now in limited editions, but at the time this was pretty trailblazing, and overall this was Working Designs' nicest package of goodies that they put out for the original PS1. Next is Backstreet Billiards. I haven't had a chance to play this one yet, but I've heard it's pretty good. This is by Aussie Entertainment, who became Agetech, and yeah, I don't know. I've heard some decent things about this one. I thought I'd check it out. Next is a puzzle game by Mitchell, who made the Buster Brothers games, and this is Ballistic. I'm trying to remember what the Japanese title of this was called. It was not called Ballistic, but yeah, decent, interesting puzzle game. Sort of a cross between Bust a Move and I don't know, maybe Tetris. Kind of a hard one to describe, but not too bad. Next is a horrible game by Acclaim that's pretty rare. This is Batman Forever, the arcade game. And, yep, you can soak in the graphics there. They are not very hot, they're very digitized, and very much of their time. Next is another one of the awful Acclaim Batman games. I just bought these for humor value, basically. This is for Batman and Robin, and equally bad and somewhat obscure. This next one is Battle Hunter. This is one of the original A1 Games budget titles I was talking about earlier. The early ones all have kind of similar artwork frame to them, and they all have this checkerboard back on them, so they look pretty cheap. This one's kind of a dungeon crawler, if I remember right. I don't remember playing it too much, but I got it. I played it when I first got it when it came out. Next is Blast Lacrosse, and really I just wanted this because I thought it was so weird that the system has a actual lacrosse game. Probably the only one I believe that's been released for a US console, so if you are a lacrosse fan, this is the one and only game you can buy to support your sport. Next is the Blaster Master remake, Blaster Master Blasting Again. This game was okay. I think a lot of people don't really think it was that hot. However, this was, again, a $10 game, and I feel like for what you paid for it, it actually was a pretty deep game compared to most of the other $10 titles. Next is Blasto, starring the voice of Phil Hartman on RIP, and kind of an average game other than his voice giving it a little bit of character, but overall a very bland looking game. First party Sony game. Next is Block Kids. This is a Natsume published Arkanoid style game, and this one actually does support the PS1 knob controller, which I'd like to get. It didn't come out in the US, but there was a Japanese version. It also supports the PlayStation mouse, so there's a couple ways you can get a little bit faster play out of it than using the actual controller, and not a bad game. Next one is the original Bloody Roar, and pretty cool, underrated Hudson Soft and Aiding developed fighting series. I actually liked this one quite a bit when it came out. I never got it until much later, but I remember playing this one at the game store I worked at the time. Next is the sequel to that, and that is Bloody Roar 2. Another good entry in the series. Slightly better graphics, and yeah, pretty good game worth checking out if you like fighting games. This next budget title is the absolute gem of budget titles on the PS1. If you do not own this game in your library, you must go out and get it right now. This is Board Game Top Shop, and it is a Monopoly-style board game starring a mall. Basically, you open shops, and you are subject to them failing, and you can expand your shop to the next tenant over. This game was known as Tenant Wars in Japan. It came out on the Japanese Saturn and also the Japanese PlayStation, and incredibly addicting. When this game came out, I put so many hours into this game for such a cheap title. I wasn't expecting much, so I can highly recommend this game. There's nothing really like it on the PlayStation, and it's a really cool game. Next one is Bomberman Fantasy Race, one of the Atlas published Bomberman games, and it is what it is, a Bomberman Mario Kart clone, basically. It's okay. This one is Bomberman Party Edition, and this was the last Bomberman game released on the PS1. This one I haven't actually played too much, but I've probably heard it's the best of the Bomberman games on the PlayStation, so I should probably give this one a try. But overall, graphically, it looks pretty good. And then we also have Bomberman World, which was another one of the Atlas published titles. And again, haven't played this one very much. Basically, there was so much Bomberman coming out in a short amount of time that I didn't give it a whole lot of effort into any of these. Next one is the Bombing Islands, and this stars the obscure Kid Kemco mascot character named Kid Clown. This one is kind of an action puzzle game. It's actually pretty good. This was a budget title as well. And if you've ever played any of the other Kid Clown games and you're curious about this weird mascot character that had 3 games in its life, it's worth checking out. Next is Brahma Force, the Assault on Belt Logger 9, whatever that title's all about. I don't even think I ever played this, but I got it because it was a Jalico game, and I thought it'd be kind of obscure and interesting, worth checking out. Next one is Brave Fencer Musashi, and this is a action RPG by Squaresoft. I think this one, in hindsight's getting some pretty decent reviews. When it came out, this one got lost in the shuffle. Squaresoft was putting out so many top titles all at once that it was hard to keep track, but this is one I'd like to put some time into. I think it would actually be pretty good. Next is Bravo Air Race. I just picked this one up recently and haven't had a chance to try it yet. But it looks like a plane racing game where you even race through downtown city. So, yeah, worth checking out, I'm sure. Alright, got one more stack here. So the next one is Breath of Fire 3, and another one I recently picked up. I do not have Breath of Fire 4 yet. I would like to get that one soon. But this one looks like it would be pretty good based on the graphics. Definitely up my alley. And I liked the Breath of Fire games on the Super Nintendo, so hopefully this one's pretty good. Then we have my namesake game, Bubble Bobble. And aside from this hideous cover that Acclaim did no favors by giving us here, it is actually a great port of Bubble Bobble. And it also has the sequel, Rainbow Islands, on it. Arcade versions of both. And definitely worth a checking out. Also has this very weird animated 3D intro that... it's very odd that they added that to it. I don't know if Taito did that or if Acclaim did, but anyways, outside of the horrible art, definitely worth getting. Next is another Taito-developed game that Jalico published in the US. This is the Underrated Builder's Block, and a very interesting puzzle game. I believe this was called Land Maker in Japan, and I don't know, you kind of shoot like bust-a-move style, but then you build these buildings up. And, yeah, kind of a hard one to describe, but it actually does get pretty addicting as you play it. Again, the cover's not so hot on that one, but definitely a cool game, worth looking at. Then we have Bushido Blade 2, and I never picked up the first one, but definitely thought this one was worth a look. I haven't put much time into it, but always was curious about this one. Then we have a disc-only Bust a Groove. I was kind of always waiting to get a complete copy of this before I ever played it, so... can't really say much about it. Then we have Bust-a-Move 2, which I've put tons and tons of hours into. Again, horrible, horrible artwork by Acclaim, but it is definitely a classic title game. You should ignore the artwork and pick this one up. It's great stuff. Then we have Bust-a-Move 4, which is another awesome entry in the series. And look at how much better that artwork is. Oh, that's right, because Natsume actually published this one. So... that paid off many dividends because the artwork is so much better, and I wish this game had sold more copies based on that. This one introduces the pulley system to the game, which is kind of a hit-or-miss affair, but overall another classic entry in the Buster Move series. I mentioned the Buster Brother games earlier by Mitchell. This is another one of those. This is Buster Brothers Collection, and it has Buster Buddies, Super Buster Brothers, and the original Buster Brothers, all on one pack. These are also classic games you can spend a ton of time playing, and this is a worthy collection for your collection of PS1 games. Then we have C, the Contra Adventure. I was always curious about this one. I've not heard good things, and I got it very cheap, but haven't played it really much. And the last one for our first round here is Castlevania Chronicles. I talked about this in my import PS1 video, and this is a great entry. It's a port, excuse me, a port of the X68000 Castlevania game. Definitely worth looking at. And next up is a classic Castlevania game. This is Symphony of the Night. I don't really have much to say about this one because everybody knows this is a classic game, but well worth owning on every PS1 collection. I bought this game new. Next one is Chocobo's Dungeon 2. Bought this out of curiosity because it just really seemed like such a weird title to include, and haven't played it much, but it's there. Then we have the even weirder Chocobo Racing, because everybody was expecting a Mario Kart clone to be made out of Chocobo. Yeah, very cool there. Here's one of the oddities of the PS1. This is the City of Lost Children. This is a French-developed, very weird game, and worth a look if you're looking for something out of the ordinary. Then we have the original Colin McRae Rally, decent rally racing game. And the very rare, in the United States, Colin McRae Rally 2.0. Countdown Vampires. Haven't really played that much, but is a kind of an obscure Bandai game. Courier Crisis. I also own this on the Sega Saturn. Then we have Darkstalkers 3, a lesser port of the Saturn Vampire Savior. Dead or Alive, the original. Just recently got this one. I was always curious about it. One of the very cool Tecmo games that doesn't get talked about much. This is Deception 3, Dark Delusion. Always liked the Deception series. This is a very cool entry. One of the unique puzzle games on the PS1. This is Devil Dice. A lot of fun and very addicting. Then we have the original Dino Crisis. Barely ever played this one. I don't even remember picking it up, to be honest with you. And Dragon Valor. Another cool Namco game. Nice artwork on that one. And another weird one for the PS1 library. This is Easter Bunny's Big Day. Another budget title that capitalizes on the holiday of Easter. Yeah. Then we have Echo Knight. This is the original. Cool age tech game. And nice survival horror stuff. Pretty cool game there. Not many people know about that one. Another one of the oddballs. This is Eggs of Steel, Charlie's Excellent Adventure by Atlas. There's also a Blockbuster exclusive version of this game that just says like Blockbuster on the front. And I'd like to get that too. I don't know which one's rarer than the other one, but I haven't seen too many of either one. Then we have Air Gaze, Squaresoft's fighting game developed with Namco. It's okay. The much better Einhander. This is Squaresoft's shooting game. One of their only shooting games I believe they've ever developed. And it's very good. I wish they'd make a sequel to this one someday. This one is Elemental Gearbolt by Working Designs. Very cool light gun game. And well worth picking up. Nice artwork on this one, both the case and the game itself. Then we have Eternal Eyes. This is another budget RPG, and not too bad. It was developed by Sunsoft, I believe. Pretty decent game. Well worth the $10 it originally went for, at least. Then we have Evil Zone, which is a fighting game. It's not too bad. It's kind of average. Extreme Pinball. I'm a sucker for home pinball games, even though this one's not very hot. This is one I bought due to rarity. This is F1 Racing Championship. I hardly ever see this game. I don't think they made too many of these. There's a lot of F1 games on the PlayStation. This is Fantastic Four. Never played it. Heard bad things. Then we have Fatal Fury Wild Ambition. One of the many SNK developed fighters for the PS1 that kind of went a little under the radar. This is the original Runabout game, or as it's known in the US, Felony 1179. This was one of the games I bought brand new when it came out, and I was really excited about it. It's fun, but it's very repetitive gameplay, so pretty much once you played one level, you played them all. I got tired of it pretty quick. I'll pull up my next stack here. Alright, then we have Final Fantasy Anthology. I believe this is Final Fantasy 5 and 6. Barely ever played it, but yeah, I've got it. Final Fantasy 7. I did like this game a lot. This was a mind-blowing game when it came out on the PS1, and very happy to play through that first run. Owned this one for several years. Then we have Final Fantasy 8. A horrible sequel to Final Fantasy VII. Well, not really a sequel, but next in the series. Did not like this one at all. It kind of turned me off on the Final Fantasy series for many years afterwards. Then we have Final Fantasy Tactics. Didn't really get into this one as much as most people do. It's an okay game. I like the style of it, but didn't really get into the gameplay too much. Then we have FIFA Soccer 2005, and you're probably saying, why did you buy that? This is actually officially the last US PS1 game released, so I thought that would be kind of cool, just to have as a relic. Then we have Floating Runner, Quest of the Seven Crystals. This is a pretty interesting game. Not too many people know about this one. Then we have Fox Hunt, and this is one of the rarest games on the PS1. I just recently picked this up. It's an FMV game. I was very curious about this, and pretty cool stuff. This one is highly underrated. I love this game, Front Mission 3. This is one I bought when it came out as well. Great mech strategy RPG game, and a whole lot of fun. Very long game, has 2 75-hour quests included in it, and I can lose myself in this game for hours. Unfortunately, a lot of the front missions I played after this one I didn't like nearly as much, but this one is a lot of fun, and definitely a well-worthy entry in the PS1 library. Then we have Galarians, another RPG that I've barely touched at all. And next up is Gekio Shooting King. This game was known as Shien Ryu for the Japanese Saturn, and pretty good shooter. This was released as a budget title as well. Definitely worth the $10 budget title price. It's a decent shooter, worth checking out. Then we have Ghost in the Shell, and never watched the anime, so it really doesn't mean anything to me, but like the game, what little bit of it I played. Goalstorm 97, this is another one of the rare soccer games for the system. Then we have the original Grandia, pretty cool looking game, and one that I wish we would have got on the US Saturn, but I'll take this as a second place trophy on that one. Then we have Gran Turismo, played the crap out of this game when it came out, as well as the sequel, Gran Turismo 2. Next is the Grand Stream Saga, another one of the many RPGs on the system, and not one I've barely ever played. Then we have Guardians Crusade, yet another RPG. I've heard this one actually has some pretty cool stuff going on. I would like to put some time into this one. This is the original Guilty Gear. This is where this huge series started, and pretty cool game. Then we have Gundam Battle Assault 2. Just picked it up, couldn't really tell you much about it. Then we have Hoshigami Ruining Blue Earth. This may have been the last RPG to come out for the system, or one of the very last ones. Very late release, and unfortunately I don't think it's regarded too well, but kind of an obscure one. Next is Incredible Crisis. This is one of the very weird games for the system that you can pick up. Worth a play. I don't know if it's aged that well, but it's very strange. Next is In the Hunt. This is a shooter developed by the people that made Metal Slug. Has the same graphic style and very cool game. Also came out on the Sega Saturn, and one I very much can endorse. Kind of a slow pace, but very cool graphics. Then we have International Superstar Soccer Pro 98. Another one of the obscure soccer games on the system. Then we have Irritating Stick. Awesome game. Incredibly irritating to play, because you will die a lot, but it is very fun. Basically, you just guide a stick through an obstacle course. Yep, good stuff there. Then we have Jackie Chan Stuntmaster. Barely ever played it, couldn't tell you much about it. Jersey Devil, just got it recently. Juggernaut, another one of the weird Jalico titles. Was always curious about this one. It's a 3-disc game. Then we have Jumping Flash 2. I do like this series quite a bit. It's a cool entry. K1 Grand Prix. I wanted this because it's another weird Jalico game. Then we have another entry in the Deception series. This is Kajero Deception 2. I like this game a lot. And King of Fighters 99 by H-Tech. This was a budget title. Came out actually after the Dreamcast version of this, and Dreamcast version is a lot better. Alright, next is Kingsfield 2. Always was curious about this series, haven't really played too much of it, but heard some good things about it. I don't have the original one yet, I'd like to get it. Then we have Kingsley's Adventure, kind of an underrated platformer. Next is Klonoa, The Door to Phantom Isle. Love this game. Very cool one I've owned for quite a while. Konami Arcade Classics. Had a really hard time finding this game. Don't think they made too many of them, but now that I got it, the games on it really aren't that good. Puyan's probably the best of them. Then we have Kudelka, which is another RPG. This one's developed by SNK. Legacy of Kain's Soul Reaver. This one was a mega hyped game that I never owned back in the day. Always wanted to check it out. We have Lode Runner, developed by Natsume, or published by Natsume, I should say. Then we have the first Lunar game by Working Designs. This is Silver Star Story Complete. Very first one of their big box games. This one's actually a smaller box compared to the other ones. And it has this opening flap in the front. Very nicely done, showing you all the goodies inside. And then the much bigger box for Lunar 2, Eternal Blue Complete. Same thing here, a flap. And shows you all the good stuff that comes inside of it. Another 5-disc set. Then we have Marvel Superheroes. Always liked this game, however it is better on this Sega Saturn. Master of Monsters, Disciples of Gaia. This is kind of a sequel to the Sega Genesis game, or a remake of it, one or the other. Medieval 2, just got this recently. Always wondered how that was. Mega Man Legends. Haven't really played it too much. Mega Man X4. Mega Man X5. And, of course, Mega Man X6. Metal Gear Solid. Got this kind of after it came out a little bit. Wasn't as crazy about it as the rest of the world was, but it's a pretty good game. Then we have Metal Gear Solid VR Missions. Kind of the side quest game to that one. Metal Slug X. This game is available on compilations now for PS2 and Wii, but at the time this was a great game to have for PS1. Played this game a ton. Then we have Monkey Magic, kind of an oddball platformer by Sunsoft. Not too bad. Monster Rancher Hopabout. I like this game quite a bit. It's very unique. You don't have to be a Monster Rancher fan to like this. It's just a kind of a wacky action game. We have Monster Seed by Sunsoft. Another one of the many RPGs. And Motorhead. Guess they were fans of the band. Motor Tune Grand Prix. This is by the developers of Gran Turismo. Very cool cartoony racer. The original Mr. Driller. Played this game a ton. And then here we have the Namco Museum series. I love these. Played tons of hours of each of these. The first one has Galaga and Pac-Man on it. Probably the two most played games on that one. Second one has Mappy, one of my all-time favorite games. I own the arcade game. And also has Gapless, which is one of the lesser-known sequels to Galaga. Then the third one has Dig Dug and Ms. Pac-Man on it. Fourth one's a little bit more obscure, but it has some good stuff on it, like Ordyne and Assault. And then the fifth one has Dragon Spirit and Pac-Mania on it. Love that series of collections. Those are very well done. Then we have the sequel/remake to the TurboGrafx Military Madness game. This is Nectarus Military Madness, another Jaleco game. Pretty cool stuff. No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. This is another Art Dink developed title. Very weird game, but worth taking a look. Omega Boost. This was also developed by the Gran Turismo company, and not too bad. Interesting little shooter that is unlike their other games. One Piece Mansion. Never even opened this one out of the shrink wrap, but always heard this game's pretty good. Next one is my homie, Parappa the Rapper. Love this game. Played it a ton when it came out, and beat it many times. Great stuff. Peak Performance, one of the weird Atlas racing games that came out. Never got the first one, but I do have Persona 2, Eternal Punishment. Like this game pretty well. Haven't really played it extensively, but it's good stuff. Fix the Adventure, one of the weird age tech budget titles. Haven't put much time into that one. Then we have Pink Panther Pinkadelic Pursuit. This is actually one of the rarest PS1 games. Probably not any good, but I was curious about it. Next is Pinobi. This is a great budget title. I don't even think this was a budget title in Japan. It just was released cheaply here. Really good platformer by Hudson and Artoon. Good stuff there. Then we have Pocket Fighter. Never really was a big fan of that game, but I bought it when it was new. The original Point Blank. Great like-on game. Then we have Point Blank 3. Pool Hustler, another one of the pool sims for the system. Porsche Challenge, first party Porsche racing game that unfortunately only has the Porsche Boxster in it. The very rare Power Rangers Zeo Full Tilt Battle Pinball by Bandai. This one you will hardly ever see. It's not too bad. It was developed by Kaze, who made a lot of great pinball sims. This one's just kind of average. Then we have a must-own for the system. This is Power Shovel by Taito. Fantastic game. It's a Power Shovel sim. It's also a really wacky minigame collection all in one. Love this game, and great game to bring out to friends if they want to see something crazy. Then we have Project Horned Owl, which is kind of the prequel to Elemental Gearbolt. It's a great light gun game. Pro Pinball, Fantastic Journey. Didn't really like this one. We have Power Slave. Always was curious about it. Didn't really play it too much. The original Pro Pinball. Then we have Pro Pinball Big Race USA. This next one's pretty rare. I hardly ever see this game. This is another Taito game, and this was their stab at making a 3D fighter. This is Psychic Force. It's not too bad. It has some interesting ideas. Kind of poor on the graphics, but worth a look if you can find it. This game is very rare, I think. This one's also pretty rare. This is Punky Skunk. Interesting little 2D platformer by Jalico. Not a bad game at all, and well worth looking at. Kind of has Super Nintendo quality graphics, but that's okay by me. Puzznik. This is a remake of the Taito arcade game. It's a $10 budget title puzzle game. It's not too bad. Another puzzle game that was originally developed by Taito. This is Kix Neo. It's okay. Then we have R4, which is Ridge Racer 4. It's pretty good stuff. Played that a lot when it came out. The R-Types collection. This is the original R-Type arcade game, and I believe R-Type 2 are included in this pack. Nice translation of both of those. Then we have the new R-Type game that came out for the PS1. This is R-Type Delta, making use of 3D graphics. It's a nice playing game. I like this game quite a bit. Kind of underrated. Then we have my favorite of the Ridge Racer series. This is Rage Racer. This one actually came out before R4, and I put tons of hours into this game when it came out. I don't really think anyone plays this anymore, but I know this was a really great, addicting game at the time. And then we have this piece of junk. This was a game developed by Telegames called Rascal Racers, and I only bought it because it's very rare. Just stumbled upon this locally. Alright, next up is a great Taito shooting game. This is Ray Crisis Series Termination. Love this game. Very cool packaging by Working Designs. Then we have the prequel to that, which is Ray Storm. Another fantastic Taito shooter. A lot of people like this one better than Ray Crisis. I'm kind of on the fence. I like them both. And we have another Taito game. This is Ray Tracers. It's kind of a futuristic Chase HQ. It's not too bad. And another Taito game. This is RC to Go. This is another fantastic game that Acclaim released here in very limited numbers. I could play this game for hours. I wish it supported the arcade RC controller that they used in the arcade version of this, but still an excellent port and a lot of fun. If you like games like RC Pro-Am, you definitely owe it to yourself to play this game. Next is Resident Evil 2. I like this game a little bit. Never really got super into it. Then we have Rhapsody, a musical adventure, one of the oddball RPGs by Atlas. Ridge Racer Revolution, which was kind of a remix to the original Ridge Racer. Pretty good. Rising Zan, the Samurai Gunman. Very, very strange game. I like this a lot. Not many people talk about this. One of my all-time favorite fighting games, Rival Schools. I like this better than Project Justice on the Dreamcast also. Played this game like crazy when it came out. It's 2 discs. It's got a lot of bonus modes. Very, very cool game. We have Robo Pit 2. Don't really know a whole lot about this one. I just bought it because it had kind of an unusual cover to it. The Robotron X, which is an update of the original Robotron game. Not too bad. Runabout 2. This is the sequel to Felony 1179. Pretty rare game, published by Hot B. Kind of when they were on their death throes. Don't think they made too many of those. Then we have Saga Frontier. Not a very well-regarded Squaresoft game, and also the sequel, Saga Frontier 2. One of the more obscure SNK published fighters. This is Samurai Showdown Warrior's Rage, and it is a 3D Samurai Showdown. And we have Shadow Madness, another RPG I've barely even played. Shadow Tower. This game's pretty hot right now. It's interesting, at least. Shanghai True Valor. I do kind of like these Shanghai games. This is pretty good. Then we have Shooter Space Shot. This is one of the $10 games. This one's pretty blah. Then we also have Shooter Starfighter Sandbane. This one is better. I like this one quite a bit better than Space Shot. This one's worth picking up. Another underrated Bandai game that you hardly ever see. This is Silent Bomber. Very cool game. A lot of action going on in this. Has good graphics. Then we have another Working Designs published title. This is Silhouette Mirage. Pretty good game by Treasure. Next is Skull Monkeys. Has this refractive front cover. Pretty cool. Nice claymation game. A lot of fun. Slamscape. I don't really remember why I bought this. Don't think I've ever played it. Then we have Soul Divide. This is a 2D shooter by Psycho that has a really weird cover on it that has nothing to do with the game whatsoever. It's an alright game. I don't know. Not one of Psycho's best. Soul Blade, one of Namco's earliest 3D fighters. Prequel to Soul Calibur, of course. Soul of the Samurai. Got this sealed. I've never opened it. Spawn with the reflective cover. Basically just got that because I thought the cover was cool. Speed Racer. Another Jalico developed game. Or published. Sports Car GT. Always heard this was a pretty good game. Haven't really put any time into it. We have Star Gladiator, one of Capcom's first 3D fighters. Street Fighter Alpha. This is another one of Capcom's early 3D fighters. At the time, people hated that game. Then we have Street Fighter Alpha, or Street Fighter EX2 Plus. This was the sequel to that one. Yeah, I think this one was received a little better. Didn't really sell that well, though, overall. Awesome game here, Strider 2. This includes the original Strider arcade game and also the fantastic Strider 2. Both are pretty short games, but a lot of fun. Definitely recommend picking up that package. We have Strikers 1945. Played this game a ton when it came out. There's some other systems you can get Strikers for now, so probably is not as necessary, but it's a nice package. Super Shot Soccer. Another one of the oddball soccer games on the system. This one was published by Tecmo. Then we have one of my favorites on the PS1. This is a very rare game. This is Tail Concerto by Atlas. Like this game a lot. It has a fantastic art style. Camera's kind of whack on it, but otherwise it's good stuff. And we have another one of the Art Dink titles. This one is Tale of the Sun. Very strange game about a caveman. Hard to describe. We have Tall Infinity. Another H-Tech budget puzzle game. This one came out later, so it has a little bit better artwork. The original Tales of Destiny. Pretty cool artwork on this one. Kind of like it. We have Tales of Destiny 2, the sequel. Artwork's not as good on the cover of that one. Another very rare game for the PS1. This is Team Buddies. A lot of people looking for this one now. I got a good price on that. Then we have the original Tecmo's Deception. Like I said, I like the Deception series quite a bit. I've got all three. Tecmo Stackers, which is kind of an unusual puzzle game by Tecmo. It's not too bad. Tecmo World Golf. This is pretty hard to find in the jewel case version. I think the long box is more common. Tekken 3. Bought that when it came out in the budget version. Never got a first print on it. Pretty good fighter. 10 Pin Alley. I like this bowling game quite a bit. This was actually very well done. And yeah, played that a lot when it came out. Before Wii Sports Bowling, that's probably the best bowling game that ever came out. Threads of Fate. Pretty obscure Squaresoft RPG. Not a lot of people talk about that one. Then we have Thunder Force 5, another one of the Working Designs games. Nice artwork on that, and part of that Technosoft series. Good shooter. Time Crisis Project Titan, another one of the cool light gun games by Namco. Then we have another one of the Pro Pinball series. This is Time Shock. This is probably one of the better ones of those. Tokyo Highway Battle. Always liked this series. This is the original one. Kind of dated now, but a lot of the later ones in the series are very good. We have Trag by Sunsoft. Couldn't really tell you much about that. I've had it for a while, but I haven't played it in a while. Then we have Trap Gunner, another one of the unusual Atlas titles. Treasures of the Deep, another underwater game by Namco. Trickin' Snowboarder by Capcom. Don't see that one too often. And True Pinball, another one of the pinball titles. Then we have Turnabout, another puzzle game by Natsume. This was a budget game. Jammer Lammy, which was the sequel to Parappa the Rapper. Love this game too. Could play this for lots of hours. Vampire Hunter D. Haven't played it. Vanarch. This is a very rare game. Kind of like a Star Fox for PlayStation. It's not too bad. We have Xevious 3D/G+. Kind of a crappy 3D Xevious game. However, it has Xevious 1 and 2 arcade. Ported perfectly on this, so that's really what's worth buying it for. X-Men Children of the Atom. Again, better on the Saturn, but a cool fighting game. X-Men Mutant Academy. One of the Activision-developed fighting games. And X-Men Mutant Academy 2. Alright, then we have my big box games. This one is Darkstalkers, The Night Warriors. First entry in that series. The original Jumping Flash. Like I said, I like these games quite a bit. Jupiter Strike. This was a Taito-developed game. Not very good, though. Philosomo. Actually a pretty cool early shooter for the system, developed by Sony. Nice one there. PO'd. I don't really know why I got this, just was curious. Raiden Project. Has Raiden 1 and 2. Great arcade shooters. Pretty good stuff there. Skeleton Warriors. Space Griffin VF9. This is an Atlas title. Viewpoint, which I've heard is a pretty horrible port of this game, but it is a shooter. Zero Divide. This one has Phalanx from Super Nintendo buried in it as a hidden extra, so that's why I wanted it. So yeah, that is my US PS1 library. Hopefully you guys like this video. Please tell me in the comments what other games I should add to my library. Sorry if the video was a little bit long. I knew it would take a while to get through those. Also, I'm a little bit sick this week, so if I don't sound like my usual boisterous self, that's why. Hopefully I'll be able to kick this pretty soon. And please leave a take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.